Vishesh Chandiok, many thanks for joining us. Principled, bold, I know that's what you tweeted in terms of how you would describe this budget. But what is it that you believe this budget is going to do in terms of turning the needle? Where do you believe we're likely to see inflection points? Absolutely. I called last year's budget simple, consistent and aligned, and I was expecting this year's budget to be the same, but I think it went further. It was bold, it was confident, it was principled, just like you'd expect the first budget of this Amrit Kal. Three reasons why I say that. I think everybody's talked about the fiscal glide path, everybody's talked about the inclusion, etc., etc. But I think three things that really stood out for me. One, progressive thinking. At least in two places I saw really a progressive thinking. I've got school-going kids, and I've seen that loss of learning in the 2 years of the pandemic, and recognizing what that means at the bottom of the pyramid and doing something about it, leveraging digital, was clearly progressive thinking. I think second place, prisoners who can't afford their bail, was progressive thinking. If you look at the second thing, I think the catch-up. AI is a place where we are behind the US, China, etc. The investment in AI, not just the 3 centers of excellence, but to do it in a way to also call upon the private sector, academia to participate in that is path-making. Same thing on soft power. The data embassies in Gift City, the 50 tourist sites, something we've been promoting since 2017. And I think lastly, people were talking about a populist budget going towards elections potentially. I think it actually, some people will say there are measures which are potentially anti-populist. If you look at the reduction in the high income tax, if you look at what's done there, not enough. Probably more needs to be done there, to continue to get the high income entrepreneurs to continue to commit to India. I think, overall, that's why I call it bold, principled and confident. Bold, principled and confident. That is Budget 2023 in the words of Vishesh Chandiok. Rajiv Memani, sorry, I cut you off before we got to Ashwini Vaishnav. And that was an important point that you were making as far as startups are concerned, that NRI and resident Indian valuation metrics that they've changed. Yeah, so no, they haven't changed it. I think it was earlier applicable to residents, and now they've made it applicable to non-residents. So if there is and they have excluded AIFs from that, but they've not excluded private equity funds and venture capital funds. So tomorrow if they were to subscribe, and if it goes to an income tax officer and he was to question the valuation of that, it just leads to more complication and confusion, especially in a time when we will be working hard to get more foreign direct investment. There are good reasons why the government has done that. My guess is that they may have to build some more protection so that it doesn't become very arbitrary with some of the tax officials and it doesn't create more confusion. But the logic of why they do, I mean, there are a lot of things that they've done basically, if you look at the financial instruments, where those were being used to reduce taxes, whether it was market-linked debentures, very high value life insurance. I think they've plugged that. There are some court decisions that came which were slightly different. What about the changes on the LRS as well? Yeah, LRS, I think they've kept education and health outside of it. It's an advanced tax. I mean, somewhere I do get a feeling that there are two things. One, the government wants to get a better handle. They still think, and rightly so, that that TDS and TCS probably gives them the best trade. So they want to be sure that that money is being, they're tracking that. Secondly, there are a lot of non-residents who have incomes here and who sort of use the LRS to transfer to do this. So I think they want to get a better handle on that. And thirdly, my guess is that they just don't like LRS. they don't like it. People do. They don't necessarily. I can understand. So I would say these are the three reasons. But at the end of the day, it has there is a procedural obligation. Yeah. There is an obligation because you're paying money in advance. But it doesn't cost you anything because it gets adjusted against advanced tax calculations. Sure. Subhrakant Panda, you've had the day now to do a dipstick poll of what your members make of Budget 2023. What are the big takeaways? Is the membership feeling confident now of going out there, putting fresh capital in, adding capacity, especially across the sectors that have found their prominence in the budget?
Shireen, absolutely. I think there's been a lot of enthusiastic reaction to the budget, and clearly the headline from an industry perspective has to be the significant capex outlay We have talked about that a couple of times already during the day, and I think when you look at the manufacturing sector and what India could have done to give it a boost, I think this probably ranks right up there in terms of the impact that this capex outlay will have, because it's not just job accretive, it is not just creating assets, but it is something which will have a knock-on effect throughout myriad sectors of the economy. And that's what we actually need, which is that all boats need to rise with the tide. And rather than have sector-specific allocations, I think this overall approach to asset creation, which provides an impetus to job creation, and when in place, will further enhance the ease of doing business, will reduce the cost of doing business.